Now, my headline for this was just like, I didn't think Scottie had the breakout year that, the front office was expecting. I think the plan
Yeah.
coming into the year was Scottie's going to take a next step forward. Scottie even talked about it preseason. He was like, my goals are to make an all-star. My goals are to make, an all-defensive team. I mean, obviously those things aren't really happening, but I think overall, like the idea was the front office thought Scottie would take another jump and that it would sort of drag the Raptors with them. I didn't really think that happened. And I think it was kind of a really strange year, right? You think about like at the start of it, even before any games were played, Nick Nurse was talking about the biggest challenge for Scottie this season is going to be bringing the same joy and the same enthusiasm as he had last season and sort of not treating it like a job. And then you had like, Masai fly out to Brooklyn to deliver hard truths to him. You had Thad talk about, well, he might be in a sophomore slump, but also at the same time, we saw also how, those two kind of got into it before a game where the Raptors beat Portland in Toronto. You saw Fred kind of call him the golden child. Like it was really an up and down sort of thing for him. The good thing was I thought second half of the season, he really stabilized and I felt like he was a bigger part of the on-court play, both offensively and defensively. But at the same time, I think what the Raptors are really looking for is to take another step forward. Like I thought he was able to get back to last year's level pretty effectively, but can he get to the next step? And I feel like, Sav, like that's got to be the biggest question. Like how do the Raptors get Scottie Barnes to the level that we all see the talent, but can he do that consistently?
I think what happened this year, from just pure observation on my end, has just been, I feel like maybe it was something to do in the offseason, maybe him attacking his training or something different. And don't forget, even the offseason is his first offseason as a rookie going into a sophomore. So this is like a rookie offseason still that he had last summer. And so I don't know if he understood the pressures or quite wanted to not wanted to, but like more so rose to the occasion of a second year player. And so I think that by the time season started, it almost felt like he was catching up to where he was last year. And then it almost like you're catching up from behind. And so the
Sure.
time that you are in the spot where you kind of were last year, playing with a lot more of that passion, playing with a lot more of that effectiveness, really. It was already January basically, just
Right.
past January, like just a few days in. And so I think that's kind of what we saw. So instead of building on last year, it was getting to where you were before. And now we're like, okay, you got to where you were before. Can you build now? And so I think that's where the biggest like question mark is going to be this offseason. And I have a feeling that, he's going to work a lot harder this season. He even talked about it in the post presser of the postseason. And he talked about the fact that like it was a big mentality shift for him. And so that's something that he's working on immediately this summer. That's something that he's like going to be focusing on. And I think I believe him. Like I honestly think that that's going to be a point of emphasis because I think he learned the hard way a little bit this season that you can't come in. I don't want to say not ready, but you can't come in and expect the production of last year to translate into this season type of thing. So I think, and that's why I asked him also in that same presser, I asked him like, do you feel any pressure?
hmm
Because, it's one thing to have a rookie of the year season. Okay, great. That kind of saved you for the second year. And then it's another thing to have to you going into your third year. Cause now you're a player. Like now you are fully like, you have expectations to perform on a night to night basis now
Right.
as a third year player. Like there's no more sophomore slump. There's no more protecting the kid. There's no more nothing. Like it's just, can you perform? Yes or no? And so that's why I had to ask him about the pressure. And then, so that's why he addressed it. And I think, if he's serious, and I know he is, he's gonna come out a lot harder, I believe, this offseason and put a lot more tact into his training.
Yeah, no, I have full confidence. And I think that like two things can be true at once, right? Like maybe the training that he did last season, I don't doubt that he worked. But the training that he did last season, was that specific enough? Was that tailored enough to what the upcoming roles and the responsibilities that were going to be on him this season? And then,
Yeah.
can you adapt that as well? Because I do think that is sort of what the new coach is going to be in for, define everyone's role so everyone knows what they can work on in the summertime. And so they can come back fully knowing what their roles are going to be and being able to step into those with no sort of like grand, you know, allure of I might be this or I might be that. I actually really just want to come in and here next season, players come in and be like, I want to be the best in my role. Like I don't want to.
Yes,
I
yeah.
honestly don't want to hear so much like I want to be top 5 or I want to be all star or I want to be all defense. Like no, actually, it really, I just want to see like everyone know their roles, work towards them this summer, and then come back and be more cohesive. Because I do believe in the talent. Everyone believes in the talent,